Why do you reread a message you sent yourself? Not her reply, yours. The one you wrote, revised, deleted a word from, put it back and finally sent. That one, you already know what it says, you wrote every letter, and still here you are 6th time today, reading it again. Read 247. Read at 247. And after that, nothing. The polite silence of a conversation that just stopped. Let me guess the first reason that popped into your head. I'm rereading to see if she replied. No, you're not. If a reply had come, your phone would have buzzed. The new little bubble would have shown up at the top. You know, in your body there's nothing new in there, so that reason falls apart. And the question is still standing, one step deeper. If it's not for her reply, why open the conversation again? Second reason then. I'm rereading to check if I said something dumb, a typo, a comma, a tone that landed wrong. That one's more honest. That one gets close. But notice something strange. The message is already gone. It can't be corrected anymore. You don't reread a contract after signing it, hunting for a clause to swap. You signed it. And yet your eye keeps scanning your own sentence as if you could change something by reading it hard enough. That's not proofreading. Proofreading happens before you hit send. This is something else. And that something else doesn't have a name for you yet, for now. Let's peel back one more layer. Notice how you reread. You don't read your message your way, the way the person who wrote it reads it, knowing the intention, knowing the warmth or the joke behind it. You read it trying to be her. You push your eyes into the other person's head and read your own sentence like you're receiving it for the first time. No context, no tone of voice, no face in front of you. Did that sound needy? Did she think I was nagging? Did that hey save it or make it worse? This has a name. Let me give you the name, because naming what we do on autopilot is half the work of waking up to it. I'm going to call it the second reading. The first reading is hers, the real one, the one that already happened at 247, the one you'll never see. The second reading is your attempt to rebuild hers. Every time you reopen the conversation, you're not reading the message. You're performing someone else's reading of it, alone, in the dark, holding the phone up over your face. And here neuroscience has a word for this, and it's a beautiful word, mentalizing. It's your mind's ability to simulate someone else's mind, to run inside you a version of the other person to try to predict what they think. Brain imaging studies show that when you imagine what another person is thinking about you, a specific region in the middle of your brain lights up, the medial prefrontal cortex, the same area that lights up when you think about yourself. Hold on to that, because it's the heart of everything. Thinking about what she thought of your message uses the exact same circuit as thinking about who you are. To your brain, what she thought of me and who I am live in the same room. Think about what that does in a silly little scene. You send good morning with a sun emoji, no reply. You come back 5 minutes later to reread it. And what you're auditing isn't the good morning, it's you. Was the sun childish? Did I sound too cheerful for someone who might be having a rough day? The emoji became a test about your character. A sun, half a second of a choice made without thinking, and your brain treated it like a public statement about who you are. So when you reread the message trying to be her, you're not actually reaching her. You don't have access to her. You're reaching the version of her that lives inside you. And that version is made of what? Of your own insecurities, of your own rules about what's too much and what's too little. If you got this far and felt that little chill of wait, that's me, you're not alone at this table. Everyone watching this right now has scrolled back up to reread their own text bubble at least once this week. It's because people notice these things together, and not alone in the dark, that this little corner exists. And this corner of you, the one holding the phone, is heavier than one blue tick can explain. Let's go down. Third layer. Why does the read receipt mess with this so much? Before apps showed you when a message had been seen, the silence was ambiguous. Maybe she hadn't even looked. Doubt was a pillow. Not anymore. Now you have dated proof. She saw it at 247 and chose not to reply, or hasn't replied yet, or replied in her head and forgot to type it, or is in the middle of a meeting, or. And this is where the second technical name of the day comes in, and this one you'll recognize in your body. There's a thing psychology calls the Zeigarnik effect. Your mind holds on to unfinished tasks far more tightly than finished ones. A waiter remembers your whole order perfectly right up until the moment he serves it. Then he forgets. The closed tab vanishes from memory. The open tab stays there, tugging. A conversation with no reply is the most open tab there is. It didn't close, so your mind reopens it, and reopens it, and reopens it. Not because you're anxious, but because your brain does this with any loop that never got an ending. You're not broken, you've got a circuit working exactly the way it was built, just dropped into a context that didn't exist 20 years ago. And here's a detail almost nobody stops to notice. The read receipt didn't always exist. It got switched on by default in a lot of apps only in the last decade. Before that, you sent a message and it fell into a clean silence, no timestamp. The urge to reread was there, sure, but it had no dated fuel. Today, the Read 247 is a tiny little machine for manufacturing open loops. It gives you enough certainty to rule out she didn't see it, and enough uncertainty to keep alive so why didn't she answer. The worst of both worlds, wrapped in a blue tick 0.5 millimeter wide, and your thumb has learned to swipe the screen up every time that wrapping gets heavy in your chest. And now the layer that rearranges the whole question. This is where the spiral turns and points inward. You reread trying to guess what she thought of your message, but you just saw that this she is a version of her built inside you. So really, when you reread, you're reading your own message, imagining a reader who is you, feeling what you're afraid she feels. There's no one on the other side of this reread. It's you writing, you sending, you receiving, you judging, and you defending yourself, all inside one head at the top of a tired arm at 11 at night. And then comes the question that was hiding underneath the first one the whole time. If you reread the message as if someone else were reading it, who is the you that's reading right now? Because there has to be someone watching all of this. Someone who sees you pretending to be her. Someone behind your eyes who knows you've already read this sentence 5 times and still watches you swipe the screen up for the 6th. That observer, the one who notices you rereading, that one isn't trying to be anyone, that one is the closest thing to you in this whole scene. And it was here the entire time, quiet, while you split yourself into author and audience. And there's more. While you reread your message pretending to be her, you also write her reply, again inside you. You've already rehearsed the "aw, that's sweet" she might send, and the dry silence she might send, and the "we need to talk" you fear most. 3 replies, all written by you, all in her handwriting. You became the whole theater. You write your line, you write her line, you build the set, and then you sit in the audience to watch. And the play never ends because the one actor who never showed up is the only one who was real. Do something for me right now without getting out of bed or putting the phone down. What's the message you've reread the most in your life? It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be a fine whatever you sent and then chewed on for days. Drop it in the comments. Just the context, you don't need the exact words. Reading a list of other people doing this exact thing is the fastest antidote I know to that feeling that only you are like this. You'll see, it's everyone. It's the whole species holding the phone up in the dark. And if picturing that whole species awake made you feel less alone for a second, send this video to that one person you know also holds the phone up in the dark. Not as a hint. As someone lighting one more window and saying, look, it's not just us. Let me tell you something that might take some weight off. There's a name for that certainty you have that your message was examined, dissected, weighed word by word on the other side. It's called the illusion of transparency. We wildly overestimate how much other people notice our inner state. You think that one extra haha screamed "I'm nervous" right in her face. On her side, the overwhelming majority of the time she read it in 3 seconds, thought, oh nice, and went back to what she was doing. The minute dissection that traps you at 247 happened in exactly one place, here, in your head. The court that judges your message has a defendant, a prosecutor, a judge, and an audience, and they're all you. The other person doesn't even know the trial is happening. That doesn't mean you're foolish for caring. Caring about how your words land on someone is literally what makes you a person you can be close to. Rereading isn't weakness. It's care with no address, tenderness that kept spinning in place because there's nothing left to do with that message. It's already gone. The care was left over, and it stayed there reading. And here's the quietest turn of all. The message you keep rereading isn't really a message anymore. It became an object, frozen, dated, hanging on that screen. But you, the one who wrote it, kept walking. You're already a different person from the one at 2:47. You've eaten, you've laughed at something else, you've forgotten for 3 hours straight. The reread drags you back to a moment you've already moved past, and forces you to stand guard next to a sentence that might not even represent how you feel anymore. You're guarding an old photograph, thinking you're guarding the present, so maybe the question isn't how do I stop rereading? You don't stop mentalizing, that's being human. That's what lets you love someone. The better question is, who do you let read your message when you reopen it? The scared version of you disguised as her hunting for proof that you ruined everything. Or that quiet observer behind your eyes who can look at your own text bubble and think, that was an honest message sent by someone who cares, and let it rest. Notice I didn't ask you to delete the app, or to let go, or to pretend you don't care. That would be a lie, and your observer behind the eyes would catch it instantly. I only asked you to know who's holding the phone. Because the second you notice it's you reading, not her, the message stops being a verdict in waiting and goes back to being what it always was, a kind thing you said to someone that can finally rest. Come back with me to the beginning. 11 at night, read 2:47, no reply. The thumb rises to reopen the conversation, that gesture your body already does on its own. And this time, halfway there, you notice one small thing. You notice it's you who's about to read, not her, you. And maybe you swipe the screen up anyway and read your text bubble for the 7th time. That's okay, but now there's someone awake on the other side of your eyes reading along who knows exactly who wrote that and why. And that's the one person whose opinion of your message you never had to sit there guessing.